My brothers, my sisters, we've celebrated the 14th Sunday in ordinary time, and we're walking into the 14th week of the year. The scripture proclaimed in our hearing touches upon leadership. And the prophet Zephaniah talked about the king, the leader, who is to come, is rather meek and maybe modest and well-mannered and riding a colt, which means there's not an entourage, there's not Secret Service, there's not a lot of bling, there's not a lot of glitz. It's a pretty simple kind of person. And we need to think then that we take that simplicity and what Zephaniah was prophesying came to be in Jesus Christ, who is that meek, well-mannered, kind, mild, very, very simple type of person. And thus what Jesus did is model for us how to live, and thus how to lead, because let us not forget we're his disciples and we follow him. So to lead in Christianity is to follow. And to follow means to give, as Jesus gave. On Saturday, I was giving blood down at St. Elizabeth Ann Seton for our blood drive. And I encountered a young man, 13 years old, and we started talking, and his dad was giving blood. And in the midst of our conversation, we sort of went into the man cave and talked about the Giants and the Niners and the Raiders and the A's. And then at one moment, he took his baseball cap off. And in taking off his baseball cap, he revealed a scar in the back of his head. And he was caressing his scar where he had had brain cancer and surgery and is mending, and spent time telling me about his scar as he was looking almost within himself at the beauty of his head. And I began to realize how much this young man was teaching this priest at that moment. That somehow following Christ, who is our leader, as Christ gave, so this young man is giving. He's talking modestly and kindly. He's grateful for those that have supported him and loved him and cared for him. He's not at all concerned about himself. He's not focused in on himself. He's giving. He's teaching. And my brothers and my sisters, he's leading. If we go to the gospel, we hear Jesus say, "Come to me, all you who labor and find life burdensome, and I'll give you rest. Take my yoke upon your shoulders and learn from me." Well, what we learn from Jesus is that when Jesus was suffering, he was still giving of himself, and that made sense of his suffering. My brothers and my sisters, this young man, 13 years old, suffering with brain cancer, is giving of himself, and he's making sense of the absurdity of the cancer he lives with. That is leadership. My brothers and my sisters, may we take Christ, what Zephaniah prophesied, and this young man as our models to imitate. Have a good week.